The Virgo's Garden. In a small, quiet village nestled between rolling hills, there was a woman named Vera, who was known for her meticulous nature and unwavering sense of order. Her home, a cozy stone cottage with ivy creeping up the walls, was a reflection of her personality, everything in its place, nothing out of line. She had the kind of calm precision that made others feel at ease, even if they couldn't quite put their finger on why. Vera was a Virgo, and though she didn't subscribe to astrology, her life seemed to align perfectly with the traits often attributed to the sign: practicality, attention to detail, and an innate desire to help others. Every morning, as the first rays of dawn kissed the earth, she would rise, make her bed with military precision, and tend to her small but carefully curated garden. The garden was her sanctuary, a living manifestation of her inner world. Each plant had its own spot, carefully chosen for the right amount of sunlight, soil, and space. The rose bushes were pruned just so, the lavender was in perfect rows, and the ivy grew along the fence in symmetrical patterns. It wasn't just a garden, it was a reflection of her need for harmony and balance, where every leaf had its place and every flower had its time to bloom. One day, as Vera was carefully tending to a stubborn patch of soil, a neighbor named Lily came by. Lily was spontaneous and free-spirited, often described as someone who followed her heart more than her head. She was struck by the serenity of Vera's garden, but also puzzled by how structured it seemed. "Vera," she said, watching her friend adjust the angle of a watering can, "how do you keep everything so perfect? It's like your plants know exactly what to do, and you do too. Doesn't it get boring?" Vera paused, wiping her hands on her apron. "It's not about perfection, Lily. It's about harmony. Every plant here is thriving because it's in the right place, with the right care. I give them the attention they need, and they reward me with beauty and peace. I guess I just like knowing that what I do has purpose." Lily nodded, but she didn't entirely understand. For her, life was a series of moments to be embraced in the moment, without the need for careful planning. But she couldn't deny the sense of tranquility that seemed to radiate from Vera's garden. The following week, there was a storm, a wild, unpredictable tempest that swept through the village. When the skies cleared, Vera was out in her garden again, tending to the damage. Some branches had broken off, and a few plants had been uprooted. Vera didn't panic, but instead, she moved methodically, assessing the damage. She fixed the broken branches, replanted the fallen flowers, and made sure everything was in order once more. It was a slow, precise process, but she never seemed to tire. Lily came by again, worried about her own garden, which had been hit even harder by the storm. "Vera," she called, "how do you stay so calm? My garden's a mess, and I don't even know where to start." Vera smiled gently. "You start with the basics, one thing at a time. That's the Virgo way." She helped Lily replant her flowers, pointing out which parts of the garden needed more sunlight and which ones needed more care. Lily, who had once thought Vera's methods were too rigid, began to see the beauty in her thoughtful approach. It wasn't about control, it was about care, patience, and an understanding that every little detail mattered. As the seasons passed, Vera's garden flourished. Each time a new flower bloomed, or the first frost kissed the earth, she would stand back and admire the results of her work. It wasn't just the plants she tended, it was the feeling of accomplishment that came from knowing she had nurtured something with her own hands. Vera never sought recognition, but the villagers began to notice. They saw how the world around her seemed to fall into place, how her quiet determination brought order to chaos, how her kindness and thoughtfulness brought comfort to those in need. She didn't need to speak loudly to be heard. Her actions spoke for her. In the end, the garden wasn't just a place of growth for flowers. It was a place where people could come to find balance, to be reminded that small steps, taken with care and attention, could lead to beautiful things. And in that garden, surrounded by the fruits of her labor, Vera found her own sense of peace, knowing that the world she had cultivated, one thoughtful gesture at a time, was exactly where it needed to be.